What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update. We have some big breaking news on parts of the third stimulus check package going to be released today, or also as possible a standalone bill. I'm going to give you the latest details of that and everything else that is going on in this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates, and smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. All right, we got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. Former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says that vaccines are probably going to be about 20% less effective against some mutant strains or variant strains of the virus. Quote, I think there's a rule of thumb that we can assume that the vaccines are probably going to be about 20% less effective against these new variants from Brazil and South Africa, which has mutated some key regions of the protein that we target in our vaccines. Scott Gottlieb also sits on the board of Pfizer. A new study also shows that the UK variant is doubling every 10 days. A group of researchers estimated that the UK variant, called the B117, spreads at an increased transmission rate of 35 to 45% and is expected to become the predominant strain in the US by as early as March. Quote, our study shows that the US is on a similar trajectory as other countries where this variant rapidly became the dominant variant, requiring immediate and decisive action to minimize deaths and mortality. Now, this unfortunate turn of events comes as new cases in the United States have been on much of a downturn, down from 300,000 new positive cases every single day a month ago in January. We're now down to 105,000 new cases per day, or an average of 120,000 cases per day. However, deaths are really not that much better. As we see the deaths here, they're actually still on an increase here. We're still averaging about 3,000 per day on the 7-day moving average. We're nearing 500,000 people in total and 27 million cases in the United States. On some big breaking news on the third stimulus check package, the Democrats plan to unveil the $3,000 per child stimulus benefit as the Biden stimulus package gains steam. Under the proposal, the IRS would begin sending $250 per month per child to millions of families as early as in July. As you can see here, Senator Democrats on Monday will unveil legislation to provide $3,000 per child to tens of millions of American families, aiming to make a major dent in childhood poverty as part of President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus relief plan. The 22-page bill will dramatically expand direct cash benefits, or stimulus checks, to American families, was obtained by the Washington Post ahead of its release. Under the proposal, the IRS would provide $3,600 over the course of the year per child for children under the age of 6, basically from birth till age 5, and $3,000 per child from ages 6 to 17. The size of the benefit would diminish for Americans earning more than $75,000 per year, as well as couples earning more than $150,000 per year. The payment would be sent with monthly, so basically $250 per month per child for children ages 6 to 17, and $300 per month for children ages birth to up to the age of 6. The payments would start monthly beginning in July, with a delay intended to give the IRS time to prepare for the massive new initiative. Now, what's interesting here is that it's unclear if this bill is going to be a standalone bill, which is what it sounds like, with a 22-page bill being basically leaked and is supposed to be announced later today. The question is, will they try to pass this as a standalone bill, or will it be basically included in the third stimulus check package which is what we thought. The good news is that this is becoming a reality. So for anybody that has children, or if your children have children, any children in your family would basically receive a $250 to $300 check every single month until age 17, direct deposited into your bank account or possibly sent to you in a check in the mail or a debit card in the mail. Direct deposit is, as always, the best and most efficient way to get money from the IRS or from the Treasury. So when this actually comes out and passes, I will walk you through that, similar to how you do your tax returns. So if you do your tax returns, definitely want to set yourself up for direct deposit where they put it directly in your bank account. But this is becoming a very real possibility, just like the student loan forgiveness is. And yeah, it's very real that we're going to see these pass, possibly even as standalone bills, if not through the third stimulus check package. These are the different buckets of money that we talk about on this channel that are going to be passing in the third stimulus check package, the fourth stimulus check package, and upcoming standalone bills. The student loan forgiveness actually could be passed through a presidential executive order, anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 of student loan forgiveness. And so there's all these different buckets of money. We have the mortgage and rental assistance. We have the child tax credits now, which is going to be a monthly payment and increased by 50% or more. The current one is $2,000, and it's only a tax credit. This is going to actually put money in your bank account every single month, and it's going to be $3,000 to $3,600. We also have the possible student loan forgiveness, which we've been hearing a lot of news about lately, and also the Social Security increases, which is also proposed by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Elizabeth Warren, of $200 per month, along with other changes in there of 20% increases for widows and widowers, and a 5% increase for people that have been on Social Security for over 20 years. So along with all those, these are the different buckets of money that we talk about that, some people might get, other people might get other buckets. Mortgage and rental assistance is a big one, along with the stimulus checks, the unemployment checks, and the other things in the third stimulus check package. So really, it's not a question of if the third stimulus check package is going to pass. They've already passed the initial resolutions, that basically the budget reconciliation resolutions, which is like the initial stages of passing it through the reconciliation with the reconciliation card. They've already started to pass that. They passed that in the House and the Senate now, both identical bills. I know you know that what movie that's from. But they've passed that in the House and the Senate, which is like the pre portion of the third stimulus check bill that has to be passed this way. It's like additional motions that have to be done this way because we don't have Republican support and we can't pass the bill in the Senate without Republican support. So they're doing it through the reconciliation process, of which now the initial stages have been passed, and we're now getting these additional bills that may be standalone bills or the third stimulus check package that we're expected to have this week, and could be passed as early as this week. Really just depends on how fast they write the bill and they bring it to the floor again to vote on it for the final time. Here is Senator Bernie Sanders, who's in charge of the Senate reconciliation rule and the reconciliation process. He's the Senate budget chairman, also known as the money man in the Senate, Bernie Sanders.
He's joining us now is the new chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont. Senator, first of all, Mr. Chairman, first of all, congratulations on the new appointment. So let me ask you, let's get down to work. Speaker Pelosi said Friday she expects the House will send its COVID relief package to the Senate within the next 2 weeks, and from that point on, the ball will be in your court. Do you think that you're going to be able to get this bill passed before unemployment benefits begin to expire?
We have to do that. Jake, 2020 was probably the worst year in the modern history of this country. You got millions of people who lost their jobs. People are worried about being evicted. Children are literally in this country going hungry. People in the midst of the pandemic have no health care. We have got to get the vaccine into people's arms as quickly as possible. We've got to reopen our schools. We have enormous crises, and we have got to pass that legislation as soon as we possibly can.
So one of the big sticking points right now in the package is the provision raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Not to get too much in the weeds about Senate language, but the issue here is that the reconciliation process you're using so as to avoid needing 60 votes in the Senate. It requires that the legislation be strictly about budgetary matters. And even President Biden is skeptical that this measure will pass muster. Take a listen.
Apparently, that's not going to occur because of the rules of the United States Senate.
So you're saying the minimum wage won't be in this?
My guess is it will not be in it. I put it in, but I don't think it's going to survive.
Now, to be clear, he supports raising the federal minimum wage. He just thinks it's not going to make it into the final bill. You're the Senate Budget Committee chairman. Is President Biden wrong?
Well, I hope he is, Jake. As you indicated, the president supports the $15 an hour minimum wage. I do. A last poll I saw has 62% of the American people supporting it, because at the end of the day, we are in the midst of massive income and wealth inequality. People on top are doing phenomenally well, and yet we have literally tens of millions of Americans working for starvation wages. You cannot make it in any state in this country on $9 or $10 an hour. We've got to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I can tell you, as chairman of the Budget Committee, we have a room full of lawyers working as hard as we can to make the case to the parliamentarian that, in fact, raising the minimum wage will have significant budget implications and, in fact, should be consistent with reconciliation rules.
During the campaign, you were running for president, and you said whoever you picked as VP would overrule the parliamentarian in order to pass legislation such as Medicare for All with just 51 votes. Should Vice President Harris do that, overrule the parliamentarian to keep the minimum wage increase in this bill?
Well, before we get to what the vice president is going to do, I got to get through the parliamentarian, and then I got to get 50 votes in support of raising that minimum wage to $15 an hour. But I am working as hard as I can to make that happen. In America, people should not be working 40 or 50 hours a week and living in poverty. We've got to raise that minimum wage, which, Jake, has not been raised, unbelievably, since 2007.
Even if it makes it into the bill, you're going to need every Democrat on board. And West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin says he does not support increasing the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. He has suggested he could get behind a lower amount, such as $11 an hour, which I think is what the rate is in West Virginia. Would you be willing to compromise in order to get Manchin's vote?
Now, I strongly look, a $15 an hour minimum wage is not a radical idea. Making $600 a week in the United States of America, barely, given the high cost of rent and all the other living expenses that people have to pay, that's not a lot of money. So these are debates that we're going to have within the Democratic caucus. But I hope and believe that at the end of the day, the members of the Democratic caucus understand that we do need to pass a $15 an hour minimum wage.
Then when it comes to the COVID relief checks, President Biden said Friday he's open to lowering the threshold of who qualifies for the checks. One idea being floated in the Senate, included by some Democrats, is to phase out checks for individuals making more than $50,000 a year. You called that proposal unbelievable and said, quote, in other words, working class people who got checks from Trump would not get them from Biden. Brilliant. Obviously, you're being sarcastic there. It's clear you don't support it. You heard Janet Yellen earlier in the show. She said, obviously, she thinks that somebody who makes $60,000 a year should be getting these relief checks, but she wasn't willing to commit to $75,000. Where do you think the cutoff should be?
This is a big part of the debate right now on the third stimulus check package, is where the income limitation should start. Republicans want them to start at only $50,000. No checks after $50,000 for an individual, double that for a couple. Mostly Democrats are in the middle with the $75,000 to $99,000 cutoff range. That's what the previous checks were before. But Bernie Sanders thinks, a little bit differently.
Well, I think what we have done in the past and what we have promised the American people, we've said two things in the last month. We said we're going to get you $2,000, and that's $600 plus $1,400. And what we're going to do is say that everybody, a single person, individual, $75,000 or lower, and a couple of $150,000 or lower will be eligible for that full $2,000, $600 plus $1,400. Now, when people said we don't want rich people to get that benefit, I understand that. I agree. And what we need to do is have a strong cliff so it doesn't kind of spill over to people making $300,000. And that's what I support. And that's what I think most people understand. But to say to a worker, in Vermont or California or any place else, that if you're making, $52,000 a year, you are too rich to get this help, the full benefit. I think that that's absurd. And it's also, from a political point of view, a little bit absurd that you would have under Trump these folks getting the benefit, but under Biden, who is fighting hard for the working class of this country, they would not get that full benefit. So I think from a policy point of view, we've got to do the right thing, and that's 75,000 and 150,000 for a couple. From a political point of view, it is absurd to be telling working class people, somebody has a decent union job, they're making $55,000, $60,000, sorry, you're not eligible for the program. Makes no sense to me at all, nor do I think it makes sense to the American people.
Chairman Sanders, always good to have you on. Hope you, in this new era, come on the show a lot and talk about these issues that matter so much to you and so much to so many millions of Americans. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We're going to be receiving probably that child tax credit bill, which will actually turn out to be monthly stimulus checks for anybody with children, $250 to $300 per child. Today, we should be receiving that. Also, possibly other parts of the third stimulus check package. When we get these details, I will be sharing them with you. So make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss out on updates and details of the third stimulus check package and the other things we cover on this channel, such as mortgage and rental assistance, student loan forgiveness, Social Security increases, and stimulus checks. We cover it all here on this video. Share this video with your friends and family so that they know what's going on also. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA, where I have had dozens of students replace their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.